The future of recreational diving, I think it's arrived. So hi guys, and welcome back to UKDiver. If it's your first time here, then just welcome. I am super excited today. I am super excited. So for ages and ages and ages, I have been looking for the next step in my recreational diving. I'm not really a super tech diver. I do technical diving and I do deep dives, but they are not what I live and breathe. I am at heart a recreational diver, and as many of you know, an absolute squidge fan. And I make no excuses because it's what I love and it's what I do. Now, for years, I have been attracted by the CCR, okay? For the reason, you know, the bubbleless, the quiet, not so much the extended range, because again, I don't do, 60, 80 meters, doesn't really super appeal to me. But the bubbleless, being able to get closer to things and maybe stay a little bit longer, certainly in warmer waters, does sound appealing. But I really don't want, and frankly, the wife won't let me have, a full-blown CCR. Now, I'm not going to go into the reasons for that here. I will do a different video on that will be coming up shortly, so do subscribe to make sure you don't miss that. But I've been looking for this sort of halfway house. So tomorrow I'm off to try a piece of kit that I have been hoping for a long time. And what I'm talking about is a semi-closed rebreather, which is the Mares Horizon. It is being produced by Revo, okay? And for those that you don't know anything about rebreathers, Revo is a very well respected, very trusted and long-standing brand of CCR. So it's got a fair bit of heritage. This is not something that's just sprung up out of somebody's head. Why am I excited about this unit? Well, for me, it's about being virtually bubbleless. Now, obviously this is only a semi-closed rebreather, so it is going to bubble, but rather than those bubbles coming blasting out your mouth like, the Darth Vader noise that we all know and love, it will fizz delicately, nearly silently out the back and not terrify that poor little critter that you're trying to get a perfect shot of. So for me, that's what it's all about. That's what I'm most excited about. This thing runs on nitrox, okay? So the minimum nitrox mix you can use it with is 30%, but after that you can use it with everything kind of right up until Nito 2. And it supplies that by this here. So you can use basically any cylinder at all. So these appear to be using sort of bog standard Ali 7s, and there is a regulator that's supplied with the unit that plugs into it. You have a standard regulator as a supply for your buddy, so that's your octopus, and then the other bit goes into the unit, and it is simple as that. So if you want to use Ali 80, use Ali 80. If you want to use anybody, absolutely anything, as long as you can side sling it. So that's really exciting. So when you take it abroad, you don't need to be hiring any like specialist little 3-litre cylinders for the rebreathers use, or anything exotic. Whatever cylinders they've got, as long as you can get a rigging kit around them, you can pretty much dive with it. And I think that's a real boon. It seems to come with some very nice kit. Like I've said, it is basically half a Revo rebreather, and they are been around for donkey's years and are very well respected. It does come with the dual scrubber, and one of the big attractions for this to me is the safety factor. When a rebreather fails, a proper rebreather, it bites hard and it bites fast. It's not for me, and it's certainly not for my wife. And again, I will explain that in another video that I'll put out in a couple of weeks. But this is super safe. Double scrubber. Comes with a BOV, a bailout valve, if you don't know what that is, which is the big mouthpiece on it, which means that with a flick of a switch, you go from breathing on the loop and you go straight down to this bottle of nitrox that's on the side of you that's feeding the unit. So there's no need to carry any form of bailout. You're already carrying it. And as long as you're not diving below the MOD of that nitrox mix, which you shouldn't be, then it doesn't matter. You can just go straight on to the open circuit. You've got the way that the unit works in the first instance, so the way this feeds gas to you and why it's semi-closed is because as soon as you turn your air supply on, or your gas supply I should say, because it should always be running on nitrox, it feeds in 5 litres a minute into the unit. Now, according to the Guff, this has been calculated so that most of the time, most of your diving, that 5 litres per minute will give you enough oxygen and gas to keep your O2 where it needs to be, and also is not that much that it's making lots and lots of bubbles. But obviously 5 litres are going in every minute, 5 litres have to come out every minute, and that's why it will bubble gently. On top of that is the electronic system. Now, the electronic system is able to add another 20 or up to 25 litres per minute to your breathing loop if you require it for whatever reason, for maintaining your fraction of oxygen, because this does work on percentage of oxygen, not a PPO2 like a normal rebreather. Now, what the difference that makes, I really don't know. I'm going to have to speak to the guys about that. But that's how it works. The bit for me that's really interesting is even if it fails, completely and utterly fails, the electronics die dead on its doorstep, this electronic valve is powered shut. So if the power fails, it pops open and basically into the loop shoots 30 litres of fresh, clean nitrox ready for you to breathe. So absolutely no chance of you passing out through to lack of oxygen or getting too much oxygen, so being hyperoxic. None of that at all, because you basically just breathing the nitrox that you're taking down with you. So yeah, I think that's it for me. I think it's the safety factor, the bubble loss factor. It'll be nice to get a bit of an extended dive time, maybe when I take it abroad. That'd be great. I mean, one of the other things that they do say is the unit is only 12 kilos when it's empty, which is fantastically movable, isn't it? I mean, you can literally pack that in a dive bag and fly off with it. As you can see, I'm bouncing. I'm really excited about this. I can't wait to give it a go. I will leave links down below for the Mari's website so you can go check this out yourself. I really like it. I'm really excited about it, and I really think this could be something that I'm super interested in, assuming that some of my questions are answered. So let's have a think about what concerns I've got about this. So while I am super excited about this, I've not lost my mind, you know what I mean? And I have got some concerns, okay? Firstly, let's have a look at that thing that I mentioned earlier with the weight, okay? This thing does only weigh 12 kilos when it's completely empty and sort of ready for transportation. And the reason it weighs 12 kilos is because it is 99% plastic. Now, I'm assuming it's like Duralin or something like that, you know what I mean, something really, really super tough, but it's still plastic, and plastic doesn't tend to fare well in UK diving. So I'm really concerned about how robust it is. Is it up to the kind of stuff I'm going to throw at it? I mean, if you have a look at the back of it, it's got this nice big panel on the back, which would look fantastic with a UKDiver head there, don't you think? I think that would be beautiful. But I do have concerns of, when you've got that strapped against the side of a boat and you are rocking and rolling and bouncing, how long is it going to take before that's smashed to bits? How much is it to replace, more pertinently? So yeah, I've got some concerns about the construction of the unit. Secondly, and again, kind of linked to the same thing, it is super light at only 12 kilos again, but we need weight in the UK because we're wearing dry suits and undersuits and that, and we're very, very floaty. So if it only weighs 12 kilo, have I got to sort of wear another 20 odd kilo around my waist? Because my twins alone are like 35, 40 kilo, and I have to add lead to them to get sunk, when they're empty. So how does that work? Now, when you do the fluff, it does say that in the unit there is a sort of a pocket on the top, or a little, what do you call it? Compartment. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm looking for compartment. So they do say there's a compartment on the top and a compartment on the bottom with little covers on that you can put kind of 2.5 kilos in. So that's 4 kilos. And I guess these guys are all appear to be using alley cylinders. So I guess in the UK we could use steel cylinders, maybe a pair of steel 7s or steel 12s, something like that. So I need to see, what can be done on that. Can we stick a wonking great big back plate on it for UK diving that can deal with a bit of weight? I just don't know. We shall see. Although I've gone through the safety features of this and why I think it's safer than a CCR. You get all the other, the stuff like the CCR, the head unit will start flashing out. You're going to die. You've got the heads-up display that I'm assuming will have, little flashing lights at you, or that's what the Guff says. It does have that double scrubber, like I've said, and, I understand that, you've got that redundancy, But certainly in the AP units that I've seen used and what my club members have used before, you know, to monitor their scrubber life, they have a temp stick, because scrubbing out CO2 out of your gas generates a lot of heat. So basically, they monitor the effectiveness and the lifespan of their scrubber unit by, you know, this electronic temperature stick that they put in, and they can see it on their controller here, you know, how it's going and everything's working. And this doesn't have a temperature stick in either scrubber, and it kind of says, and I shall read this to you verbatim: a sophisticated monitoring system informs the diver of how much time remains before they must replace their scrubber material. Is that just maths? Is that the same for Mr. Skinny here as it is for my fat ass? How does that work? I just don't know. So that worries me, because again, you know, it is really not something that you want your scrubber running out before you've done with it. So yeah, it's nice having two, but you know, how do I know when to change them? How does that work? So yeah, I really worry about that. One of the other things that really worries me about this unit is, why haven't I heard of it before? Like I say, I'm really super interested in this unit because it appears to tick a hell of a lot of boxes on where I want to go with my diving. And again, if you do any kind of research on this, you'll see this was actually launched in 2019. Now, we are in the back end of 2022. And until Roho, our partner centre, put up a post saying, hey, does anyone want to come and try this Mares Horizon rebreather, semi-closed rebreather? I hadn't heard of the damn thing. I haven't heard of it. I haven't seen it. So if it does what it promises to do, I find it very difficult that in 4 years that I've not even come across it. So I want to know where it's been, what's went wrong with it, why hasn't this gone wild already? You know, why are we not seeing this on the BSEC Tritech events or something like that? Why is it only just now coming to light? You know, why are we only just now being introduced to it? So I'm worried about that. You know, where have we gone for that last 4 years? So one question I know you're all sat there burning on is like, ooh, how expensive is it? Well, again, that's another big boon over a full-on CCR. This thing starts from £4,000, which is an absolute clean 50% cheaper than any CCR out there at the moment, as far as I can tell. That is for the base unit. If you want to go for the decompression unit, there's another set of regulators to go with that, so you've got that to pay for, so it goes up an extra couple £100. There seems to be a few added extras that you can buy on as well. So needless to say, that ticks it up. But even with all that, you're probably looking at £5,000, which again is still less than half the price of some of the more expensive rebreathers. Where the costs appear to be about the same is the training. It does seem to be quite expensive and extensive. It's not only expensive but extensive. It would appear that, you know, to do the decompression course, which I guess most UK divers would want to, because I would want to be able to use it down to 40 meters, and if I rack up a bit of deco, I definitely want to off gas that as quick as possible. So I'd like to have a second richer mix on there to use. You're talking about £650-700. So and that's just for the course. You've got your travel, your accommodation, all the rest of it. So yeah, you've probably got to add another £1,000 onto that. So if you're talking 5,000 for the unit and another 1,000 for training, you're talking probably, to get yourself kitted up in the UK, about £6,000. Plus, then don't forget that if you are going to use Steel 7s, I don't own a set of Steel 7s. So I'd have to buy a pair of those as well. And with cylinders as vastly expensive as they are at the moment, that's probably not going to leave much change out of yet another £500. So it is a substantial investment, but not half as substantial as maybe going the full CCR route. So that's it, guys. It's about 10 o'clock at night and I am getting ready to get to bed because it's like Christmas, and the quicker I get to sleep, the quicker the morning gets here and the quicker I get over to Redbridge to do this dry dive. So that being said, guys, I guess all that's left to say is I'll see you over there.